Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. I know I'm running a little bit late, so my goal is to go live on Tuesdays for Tech Tuesdays about 8:15 or so. Actually going to do a little bit of a mind shift here, mindset shift. Be careful. Be careful how you say that. It can come out all wrong, all wrong, all wrong. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. I pulled into the driveway and the grass just needed to be cut. The wife and I had a little mini date. We went out and got some burgers and French fries. Just had to go do it. Went to a place here in St. Louis called Bus Loop Burgers. Have really, really good burgers. For some reason, though, they keep leaving the bacon off of my wife's burger, and I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. So got $1.20 on my receipt that we didn't get in the burger. So next time I think I'll just roll up $1 and throw a quarter in there and just put it in the burger and call it a night. So actually working on collaborating with one of my marketing buddies while I'm talking to you guys. Apologize. Let me jump off. I just said you guys. God bless America. That was one of the things I was going to do. So welcome, welcome, welcome to day one of the 14-day challenge 2020 edition. Excited for the journey. So for those of you that want to track this, you guys know this is number 6 for me. I'm actually wearing my really cool shirt here. This is from the last 14-day challenge. It was number 5. So can't wait to see what the shirt is. And I'm probably going to wear these shirts throughout the 14-day challenge here just to have a little bit of fun-rific. So what part of the country you be chiming in from? Absolutely love this kind of stuff. Today we're going to talk about some mindset shift adjustments, some things. I found a really cool article that I'm going to share some information with you, some pointers on it. I've got a really, really cool, awesome deal here. So I'm going to go over four tips highly successful people use to remove self-doubt, and then I have additional 4 tips. Number 8 in the additional 4 tips is absolutely, or number 4. The additional 4 tips, number 4, which would make 8 total. The number 8, number 4, however you want to look at it, the last one, the final tip is absolutely awesome. It will definitely give you a mind adjustment. So if you'd like those, shoot me a private message. I'll definitely get those over to you. You guys can read them for yourself. Hopefully, I've got them. Let me slide it over to the screen over here so I can see them. Got them set up here. And scroll down and start making this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about speaking you into self-existence. Are your words destroying your success? And I'm going to go through these 4 tips. So one of the things that I've noticed is words are really, really powerful. And your brain has no idea when you're lying to it or you're telling the truth. And I'll say this when we'll talk about people in recovery. So one of the things that I learned in being a recovery counselor, especially people that are either anorexic, bulimic, especially those 2 types, have this thing where they look in the mirror and they tell themselves that they're either too fat, they don't want to eat, they're too thin, whatever the case might be. But when they look in the mirror, they see someone that, and they've convinced themselves, they've told themselves over and over and over and over, both verbally and internally, that they are too fat. And so they purge and they do things like that, and they don't eat, and they're constantly on weight loss stuff, and they just become a wreck mentally because they have told themselves that they're too fat. And there's a lot of underlying, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, I'm just telling us that we as people, as humans, as marketers, as business builders, what we tell ourselves is something that could absolutely be destroying our future, our self-talk. One of the words that you'll never hear me say, and I'm not even going to say it, is a word that starts with a C and ends with a T and has an A in the end in the middle. I don't use that word. I never use that word. It's a word that will not come out of my mouth because I don't believe it's true. I do not believe there's not one simple thing that anyone on this planet, if they make the decision to get it done, that they can't do. And I mean, in the Bible, right? In the Bible, it says the faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain. So we're not talking about magical superpowers here. We're talking about making a decision that if I'm in front of a mountain, right, and I need that mountain to move, I can say, mountain, move. And that thought process, now let's watch this, is, let's say I'm in a construction company, and there would be no reason for me just to move a mountain, right? There'd have to be some reason to move this mountain that's logically sensible. I'm pretty sure God didn't want people just walking around just moving mountains, right? So I want this mountain to move. I've got to get through this mountain. I'm in a construction company. So what I do is I get some really big dirt hauling moving equipment. I get some dynamite. I get everything I possibly need to move this mountain, and I start moving it. One big dump truck load of dirt. I might blow some stuff up. I might get a big, whatever the equipment is. Eventually, over time, with enough work and enough heavy hauling equipment, I'm going to move that dirt, which that mountain is made out of. There's probably some rocks in there and some other stuff, but it's going to move, and I'm going to move that mountain because I got to get through it. I got to put a highway through it. I got to put a road through it. I've got to do something. But I am going to move that mountain because I have the confidence and the faith that I know through my education that I have the engineering capabilities to understand what I need to do to move this mountain so I can put my road through it, my tunnel through it, go over it, move it out, maybe I need to build a dam, whatever it is, because I have faith in the skills that God has given me to be able to move through that mountain, right? And that goes with anything. I mean, I've seen story after 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 story of people that have overcome amazing obstacles. I wish I got to look this guy's name up. But one of the gentlemen, he was a mountain climber. he was mountain climbing. Matter of fact, there was a movie on. There's another one. There's a couple ones. But this gentleman was a mountain climber, and somehow he had fallen and ended up losing both of his legs. And you would think that most normal people would be like, oh, I'm not going to ever do anything. I'm never going to be able to climb a mountain again. Well, this guy completely changed his idea of getting around. He decided that he was going to see. He'd never thought about this before. It never dawned on him, because apparently he's really smart, because what he did was he started building prosthetics. And it wasn't just any old prosthetic. These were prosthetics that he could enjoy his life with. He said, I want to climb mountains. So he actually made a couple of prosthetics that he could attach that would help him climb mountains. It had like spikes on them and stuff so he could climb mountains. He made one set that would make him taller. They had hydraulics on them. So his whole entire mindset wasn't limiting. He never limited himself. As a matter of fact, he actually took it to another level by losing his limbs, by losing his legs, doing something he loved. It compelled him, it pushed him forward, it made him move in a direction to be more creative. And now, because he's gone down that road, hey, Doc Gardner, thanks for swinging by. That was my marketing partner. I was just chatting with about some marketing stuff and doing stories. So the cool thing about being able to move in that direction is that because of that accident, right? Most people would think that's devastating. The world is over. Where are you going to go? I'm not going to have anything to do. But because of that, his engineering brain kicked in, and he's created all these prosthetics. And now, not only that, he can help other people that have similar issues, I guess you call it issue, that have lost their limbs, provide them with alternatives to mobility, right? I've seen these guys, the runners now, that have the really cool spring legs, and they've actually prohibited some of them from running professionally because they say the spring legs make them go faster. I guess you call it a spring leg. I don't know what you call it, but anyway, it's a prosthetic. And it's amazing that when we have the desire and the will and the drive to get something done, the results that come out of it. So I was sitting around on my regular daytime job, and I go through a process of presenting a product to customers. And one of the things I get a lot of no's. But what I decided was, and it wasn't like a no, it was a no, not right now. So hearing the no not right now, what that tells me, eventually they're going to buy something from me down the road. So create a follow-up system, built me a landing page, edited a video, put an entire presentation together, got on my phone and started sending this out to people. You know, and said, hi, this is Forrest, blah, 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 critical, and here's some of the special they got going on, and actually use my digital business card to do it. And I'm sending this out, sending it 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 out. So yesterday and today, I got, and these were people that I did presentations to 60, 90 days ago, right, are now following up. So today, I was actually able to earn $1,000 just today by simply because I did follow up, right? They called me up and said, hey, I want to go ahead and order that stuff. I was like, boom. So literally in a 24-hour period, I made $1,000. So I'm like, woo woo. So I'm excited about that. So the long story short was, I didn't let the fact that somebody sitting down across the table from me saying no stop me from coming up with a different creative way to get the information. And not only that, it caused me to think like, okay, so now that I'm doing this presentation that I'm doing, so rather than me just do a one-on-one, and I can only do so many one-on-ones in an 8-hour day, is now I can send this presentation out to multiple people and put it in their inbox. So I can have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 people watching this presentation all at the same time, i.e. it's in their inbox. And then because I'm using a really cool tool, a digital business card, it actually sends me a message and tells me when they opened and watched it. Cha-ching. So guess what happens next? I pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, curious, did you happen to get that information that I sent you? I know they got it because my digital business card just told me they got it. And they'll say, yeah, as a matter of fact, what is this about over here? And I'll go, blah, 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 cha-ching. Right? Because, and I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying that because if you adopt that mindset of every challenge that you come up against, you pause for a minute, you look at it and say, okay, somewhere in this is an opportunity, right? Somewhere in this is an opportunity to do something different, to move in a different direction, to maybe come up with a more creative idea, right? Not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but maybe put a really cool automobile on top of the wheel, right? Right? So rather than just have an old wooden cart on the wheel, maybe you have a cool car on top of the wheel, or maybe airplanes on top of the wheel. So whatever it might be, your mind starts to go in a different direction because you're not limiting it and not having self-doubt, not saying, oh man, I only did this, or oh man, I only did that, or dang, I wasn't, it wasn't that good. You're all that self-talk, that negative self-talk is sabotaging the ability for a miracle to happen, for you to have an open mind, say, okay, that didn't quite work the way I expected it to. Is there a different way to crush this? So my thought process was, when I'm doing these presentations to people, going, this ain't going fast enough. And when I say that, my brain kicks into, how can I put my presentation in front of more people faster? That's my deal. So in an 8-hour workday, that's the biggest disadvantage of a regular traditional job in sales, whether you're selling furniture or cars or houses. You can only do one presentation per person at a time, right? You can only sell one couch at a time to one person. You can only present one at a time. Even if you have to put this one on pause and go talk to another one, you can only do it one at a time. The cool thing about being in network marketing and having digital tools is that I can reach out to multiple people, just like the one that just chimed in here, and I did a follow-up, and she says, no, I got busy at work, I'm gonna have to check it out tonight, and I'll have it done, I promised. And she said, I promised in the next 24 hours. I said, great, I'll follow up with you in about 24 hours unless I hear from you first, right? So that conversation and that same exact message, that same exact presentation that she watched is in hundreds of other people's inboxes because they requested information. So now all I've got to do is keep knocking on their door saying, hey, what'd you like most about what you saw? Hey, what'd you like most about what you saw? And go through my regular follow-up process, because I understand that they've got life going on, just like she had life going on. She said she was interested. I sent her the presentation. I moved on, right? The presentation alerted me that she started watching it, which is cool, because then I sent her a message. Now here's how this works. I sent her a message that said, curious, what did you like most about what you saw? Because my presentation snitched on her and told me that she watched it. And I didn't say, oh, my presentation, I say that you watched. I said, hey, and I just said, hey, what'd you like most about what you saw? And she said, you know what? I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing. I promise I'm going to watch the rest of it this evening, and I'll let you know. I'm like, great, absolutely awesome. So that's the power of follow-up, but it's also the power of having tools in place so that you know that, oh, man, only did 2 presentations a day. Screw that thought process. The thought process would be, how can I get my presentation in front of more people faster so that I don't have to do as much work, right? When I'm out here prospecting and reaching out to 70 people a day, how can I make that go faster? And I know Doc Gardner's on here. She's got a system of I think she said you can do it like 140 people in an hour or something, that she's figured out how to reach out to that many people in an hour. That's absolutely awesome. Very, very cool system. I have to dig her brain about that and get into that and find out what that is all about. But anything to get your presentation and somebody faster is going to work. So here's these tips, and we're talking about the successful people, right? Speaking you, and I wanted, and I'll paraphrase this back a little bit. Speaking you into existence. When you have a lot of self-limiting, self-doubting talk, you're speaking yourself into existence. Take a look at what your lifestyle is that looks like right now. You are the sum total of every single thing that you've said, every single decision that you've made, every action that you've taken has brought you to right now today. So if you're not satisfied with the job that you have, if you're not satisfied with the house you're living in, if you're not satisfied with the relationship with your spouse, whatever it is, it's you that got you here, right? It's you that got you right here to this point right now. So it's also you that can take a look at all of that stuff. Want a better relationship? Step back and say, what do I do to contribute to this relationship? What can I do looking at the relationship, right? I lost my relationship legs, right? What can I do to be creative, to put new legs on that, to be more creative in that relationship, to make it a lot more fun? And not only that, maybe that relationship now becomes an example for the kids or the neighbors or the brothers and sisters or the spouses, whoever, to look at and go, wow, their relationship sort of sucked. They made an adjustment. Then they say, hey, what did you do to fix your relationship? And you go, blah, 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 blah. And they go, I never thought of that before, because you made a decision not to just live in it. And I love this word. You made a decision to embrace the suck. And where that comes from, if you're not familiar with that phrase, there's a Marine that teaches this, and he went from being a Marine in the Marine Corps to starting his own business to going into network marketing, having a huge team. But one of the things that he talks about is embracing the suck. He was a Navy SEAL, right? And one of the things that they do is they just do some stuff that sucks. I mean, you're like, damn, this sucks. This is horrible. So they make you stay in water a long time. They make you, they put the body through a lot of stuff that most normal people would be like, oh, it's 3 minutes, I'm done. Some is 45 seconds, I'm out, right? But they embrace the suck. And so they have a term that's called embrace the suck. Oh man, this sucks, this hurts. And they embrace it, they get used to it, and it makes them stronger mentally, because when they do get hurt in combat, they realize, okay, I'm hurt, but I'm not dying, right? How do I get out of this situation? How do I move forward? And they work as a cohesive unit, and they all work together. So I'm telling you, man, if I'm ever reborn into another life, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL and go through that training. I'm telling you, if I could go back in time and redo it, that would definitely be a path that I would take for sure. I feel I missed out on something not doing that. So just wanted to throw that out into the universe. Anyway, so embracing the suck. Look, put your head down and go to work. So let's talk about these steps. And again, if you want, there's 4 additional. I'll send you these, and you can read the entire thing, and I'll send you the 4 additional ones. And like I said, the 4th one or the 8th one or the last one, whichever one you want to call it, is absolutely mind-boggling. I should say mind-boggling. Is that the right word? It's life-changing. It'll make a huge impact for you if you embrace it. So I just had to go there. So let me bring this. I'm going to read this. So one is, what do successful people do? What do successful people tell themselves to remove self-doubt? One is they simply stop making excuses, right? You simply stop making excuses. Self-doubt often makes us rationalize a situation to fit our emotional state. We may be afraid to fail, afraid to look bad. Isn't it amazing the size of the egos that we have, that we're so worried that everybody's spending all this time thinking about, oh my God, did you see so-and-so at the store? Can you believe that she was wearing those pink shoes with those polka dotted striped pants? They're not thinking about you. They got their own ish they're dealing with. They're not talking about you. They're not talking about your hair or your lipstick or your shoes or your car. They're not thinking about you. They've got too much of their own stuff to deal with to worry about what you look like, what kind of car you're driving, any of that kind of stuff. Now, they may talk about you for a few minutes, but they're not sitting down going, oh my God, let's do a Facebook post about so-and-so. They're not thinking about you. They're not. So when you're sitting around and you're afraid to go on and do a Facebook Live, right? You're afraid to do a Facebook Live because you're worried about how somebody's going to think about you. Ego check, right? Afraid to take on more than we can think we can handle. So we become adapt to making a lot of excuses for why opportunity that presents. Man, I'm telling you, there's people watching this live right now. When we did the 7-day prospecting bliss challenge and we decided that we're going to add 20% in prospecting numbers, it pushed the envelope. It pushed some growth. It created a lot of like, wow. I mean, it was like doing the push-ups, like doing 50 push-ups and going, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 20% to that every day. By the end of the week, when you're at 190 push-ups, your body is screaming if you make it that far, right? So we become adept at making a lot of excuses for an opportunity, for why an opportunity presents itself isn't a good fit. Wow. I'm gonna leave this article. You guys can read the rest of that first number one there. Number two, be aware of your close circle. Who are you hanging out with? Because I said they don't talk about you, but they actually may be talking about you behind your back and not supporting you and bringing you down. There's a popular saying that we're the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. While there's no scientific study to support this notion, there's a kernel of truth in the statement. If you hang out in a whorehouse, I'll just leave it there. Number 3, raise your self-awareness. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful personal development tools in your arsenal. Make use of it by understanding the root causes of your self-doubt. There's so many books out there. One of my favorites is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I know a lot of people, oh God, that's an old one. But I'm telling you, when you go and you read it and they talk about being codependent, independent, and interdependent, and you understand that concept, it will definitely change you, the way you think and the way you deal with people and the way you rely on what other people think. What specific situations trigger bouts of self-doubt? What are the things that happen in your life? Like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to do this. Oh man, I'm not going to be able to accomplish. For example, it may be a fear of delivering presentations, doing a Facebook Live, or it may be anxiety at having to make cold calls. Man, I love making cold calls. You want to know why? Because they don't know who I am. And I don't care what they say. And when you adapt that, even on the phone, I don't care what someone on the other end says. When you get hung up on 3,000 times, you don't care. When people cuss at you 1,000,000 times and call you every kind of name under the sun, guess what? Click, hang up, move on to the next call, right? Just about anything can be learned. Go out there and get training you need and get a coach to help you. And I just want to send a huge shout out to Coach Elsa, my coach. She's absolutely awesome. And the awesome Ray Higgin, absolutely awesome coach. Truly appreciate you guys. Number 4, practice self-compassion. While it is easy to extend compassion to others, now this is so hard. I'm going to talk about some examples here. Very few people are able to temper their self-criticism and self-compassion. One of the things that's really, really hard to do, and I've learned this over time, is when somebody does something nice for me, rather than saying, no, you don't have to do that, is simply saying thank you. That in itself is powerful. It's powerful. It's powerful. When somebody when somebody pays you a compliment, don't say, oh, no, or don't say, yeah, you too. Just say thank you. Appreciate the compliment. That, when you accept that compliment into yourself, the power that it gives you is freaking amazing. Amazing, amazing. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for the compliment. You don't have to turn, oh, no, you don't have to do that, or nah, it's not a big deal. If somebody pays you a compliment, it's a big deal. When you tell them it's not a big deal, you're basically telling them, shut the hell up. right? You're telling them, no, it's, you know what I'm saying? They're appreciating what you did for them. And then when they give you the compliment and you say, oh, no, it's not a big deal, you basically just took that away from them. You took the gift that you just gave them away from them. So highly recommend you try that. When somebody pays you a compliment, simply say thank you. When you do something nice for somebody, and somebody does something nice for you, don't say, oh, no, not necessary. Say, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You know, unless you're in a legal profession where you can't accept gifts because of whatever. But I'm talking about from a personal standpoint. If somebody pays you a compliment or shows you appreciation or does something nice for you in return for something you did for them, take it and accept it and embrace it. It will empower you beyond all belief. You'll be so amazed. It makes it easier for you to walk through life and have a big old smile on your face and go, yeah, that's awesome that I did that. And the next time you do it, you pass that power on to the next person. It's a law of the universe. It works. So practice self-compassion. While it's easy to extend compassion for others, very few people are able to temper their self-criticism with self-compassion. Self-compassion is simply being kind to yourself. Studies show that there's a strong correlation between self-compassion and positive mental health, such as reduced anxiety and greater life satisfaction, as well as higher self-esteem. Loving on yourself. I love me. One of the things that we do in Rankmakers is we do Celebration Fridays, where we celebrate our accomplishments. I have a friend, Bill, that I used to work with in the insurance industry, and one of his sayings was no zeros at the end of the day. And he would not go to bed without making an appointment, without making a phone call, without doing a follow-up, or without doing a presentation. And he could not do not one of those four. So he said no zeros at the end of the day, and he tracked everything he did. And as a result, had a huge client base of insurance company, was able to retire. I think it was 52 when he retired, with a stupid, ridiculous monthly continuous, what do they call it? Repeats and referrals, whatever it is that you get in insurance, the insurance override residuals that you get from an insurance client. So it had a huge client base. Was able to retire. 52 was young as a retirement age in a lot of cases, especially for people who are selling insurance and doing sales and things like that. So he was able to do that, but he had his whole purpose in life was no zeros at the end of the day. So self-confidence, self-compassion, love on yourself. Tell you that you're great. Tell you that you're smart. And not the hocus pocus. Like, you are smart, you are intelligent, you have the ability to do anything you want. So if you'd like the additional these additional 4 tips that successful people use to overcome self-doubt, shoot me a private message. I'll get those to you. Like I said, number 8. When you dive into number 8, it's going to be absolutely mind-boggling. Yeah, I'll say mind-boggling. It'll change your life if you really embrace it. So yeah, no zero production days. You're reaching out to somebody, you're following up with somebody, you're doing some type of presentation to somebody, you're knocking on somebody's door, you're dropping something in, just no zeros at the end of any day, whether it's a follow-up, a reach out, a presentation. You're doing something that's going to put your information in front of somebody else, even if it's just one person that you're going to knock on their door. Just no zeros at the end of the day. I'm going to go ahead and call it a wrap for day 1 of the 14-day challenge. So for those of you that would like to plug in, I'm going to be going to do so tomorrow. What I'll start in the 14-day challenge, I'm sort of going to do recaps. Why do I say sort of? I am going to do recaps of the 14-day challenge and what we're learning, and as we're progressing through the 14-day challenge, I'm going to share those for the next 14 days. So if you're lost, why do I keep saying sort of? Stop it. If you're at a position where you're ready to level up and go to the next level, I highly recommend you plug in with me for the next 14 days. It's going to be fun, horrific. I guarantee it. This is Forrest out in St. Louis. I love you. Jesus loves you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Go out and make an extreme impact. No more empty refrigerators. Peace out. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Where is my mouse?